Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is 50 of Muffin Cup Gaming, and I'd like to welcome you to the inaugural edition of the Hearthstone deck presentation. With the deck presentations, I'd like to, just go through a popular deck in the current constructed metagame, go through the deck list, play a game or two so we can get an idea of how the deck itself functions and plays, and share any thoughts. So with the first deck today, I'd like to go through the Unleash the Giants deck. This deck originally, I believe, came from the Hearthstone forums, and it's been fairly popular on the ladder ever since. Now this deck is a really fun deck to play, although in my experience I found it to be a bit of a boom or bust type deck where if you get the right cards you're probably going to win, or at least put up a good fight, and if not you'll lose fairly quickly. So it's not the most consistent deck, but I did have a lot of fun with it. So the idea of this deck is it revolves around the two giants, Mountain Giant and Molten Giant, and getting them out as soon as possible. With the draw that a Warlock gives you, it's really easy to get Mountain Giant out, and not uncommon to see him turn 4 or sometimes turn 5 depending. And with life tap and the general early aggression that most decks tend to focus on in the current metagame, Molten Giant can actually come out around turn 4 or 5 as well. So the deck itself revolves around a lot of removal, as you can see with Soulfire, Mortal Coil, Shadow Bolt, Shadow Flame, Hellfire, Siphon Soul, Twisting Nether, etc. As well as a combination of cards that sort of combo off the fact that you're going to have a lot of cards in hand, like Twilight Drake. And then you have stuff like Defender of Argus and Sunfairy Protector to give your giants taunt. Because you'll probably be fairly low in health by the time that they come out, having taunt is not a bad idea. That said, because your deck sort of focuses on you not doing anything and taking a lot of damage to get out, either giant, this deck gets hard countered by mages, just because mages, they focus on burning you down with fireballs and pyroblasts. So, it's not the most favorable matchup that you will run into. In my deck list, I decided to go with 2 Voidwalkers. I'm still not sure how I feel about that, but I just didn't like the fact that this deck made me so vulnerable early game, and having a Voidwalker who's he's a really sturdy creature for 1 mana, probably one of the sturdiest ones out there. So having that Taunter out does buy me a turn or two to build up my hand to play a Mountain Giant or Molten Giant. And then you have, of course, Faceless Manipulator to copy your giants, and then Lord Jaraxxus as your late game option. Like I said, you are taking a lot of damage, so having Lord Jaraxxus late game is really crucial. He'll first off bring you back to 15 health, but in the event that you lose all of your giants or just aren't drawing into them, Lord Jaraxxus' hero ability is different from the Warlock's hero power. He summons a 6/6 Infernal for 2, and instead of the life tap that Warlocks all get. So, Lord Jaraxxus brings out some more late game threats in the case that you're sort of out of minions, or you're just not drawing into them. So Lord Jaraxxus late game. So with that, let's jump into the ladder and play a game or two. As you can see, the patch recently came out, and I haven't had much time to go and grind through my rank, so I am still a leper gnome. So I would imagine that the games that we play are going to be, well, I guess it's really hard to say since everyone's probably fairly low right now, but probably not going to be against the strongest opponents. But either way, we'll get a chance to play the deck and see how it works. Alright, so the first matchup we have here is against the Paladin.
Your soul
Alright, great.
shall
We
be
have a
mine.
Giant in hand as well as Voidwalker, so this is actually a pretty good draw for us. I'm going to be sending back one Soulfire. There's no need for two, especially because you don't want to be using Soulfire too early. Like I said, with Molten, especially now that we have a Mountain Giant in hand, we don't want to be discarding cards, and so the Soulfire will probably be used only in a case of emergency, or we might even end up holding on to it late game, until late game. But just in case he does drop a threat that I don't like, I do want to hold on to him. And we get a Faceless Manipulator, which will be pretty fun to play with a Mountain Giant. And I forgot we do have the coin, since we are going second, so that's very nice. I'm going to drop the Voidwalker and pass turn. I guess you could argue that holding onto the Voidwalker isn't too bad, just because he doesn't have any threats on the field right now. Oh, well, that's interesting. Oh, well, there's that Soulfire. It's coming back. I'm going to life tap and then pass the turn here. But yeah, like I was saying, I could have technically held on to this Voidwalker for another turn or two, just because there's no threats on the field. But I don't know. I mean, you never know if I need, what you'll draw into, and if you have to spend mana on something else. And I like to keep 2 mana free to continue life tapping. All right. Well, Frostwolf Grunt. This card is pretty bad. Let's see here. If we life tap, we get up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, looks like we have a spot for one more card. Oh, I probably should have attacked this guy. Oh well. No big deal. Next turn, depending on what he plays, I will most likely be dropping the hello. Well, that changes stuff ever so slightly. I think I'm still gonna play the Mountain Giant, to be honest. And I say that because I did draw the second Mountain Giant. In order for him to get rid of this, I'm imagining it'll have to be a 2-for-1. Yeah. Oh, he's really pumping that guy up. Okay. Not too worried. What I'm going to actually do is make a copy of it. Thank you very much. Attack. Let's get Soulfire out on this fellow. And that's turn
to get ready.
And that is why you don't put all your eggs in one basket. He invested 2 Blessing of Kings and a Blessing of Might into this one card, which is a bad card to start with. Oh. Pity. Well, I still have a 1/9 taunt, which is not bad at all, especially because I do have my giants and my other threats in my hand, so, okay.
I've got a huge gun.
Let's see here. At 5 health, I do want to gain some life, so I'm going to do that. And I want to get some threats out, so this isn't ideal, but I'm going to use the coin to draw my Twilight Drake. Now, next turn, I'll be able to play my Mountain Giant, so I have that threat. But the reason I played the Twilight Drake is because next turn I'm playing this Mountain Giant. I wouldn't be able to play this Drake for a few turns, and he's still at 29 while I'm at 7, so I'd like to get some damage in while I can.
For the king!
He's investing pretty hard on bad cards. Alright. No big deal. Well, there goes the mountain giant. And I was thinking about if I want to Soulfire or not, but I don't think that's necessary because I can clear that Grizzly, get him for some damage. And I still have a 1/7 taunt to protect me, and I can't think of a scenario where he can get rid of this. Now that I said that, it's probably going to backfire, but next turn what I'm thinking is at 8 mana, I can Siphon Soul something to regain some health, and also to Sunfree Protector for that extra taunt.
Reporting for duty.
Right. So... yeah, not too worried. Well, I'm definitely going to give these guys taunts. Now it's just a matter of what to do next. I'm definitely going to hit him with that. I don't want a Hellfire because that'll kill 2 of my creatures. What I'm going to do, this isn't ideal, but I'm going to Siphon Soul his 2/4. And then I'll get him for some damage. Now the reason I did that was because if he does drop something huge, I do have a lot of removal here. So I have the Soulfire as well as the Shadow Bolt.
The gates are open.
And then of course I have my huge, creatures in general. And in order for him to get through either of these, it'll have to be a 2-for-1 situation. So I'm not, that's okay with me.
Reporting for duty.
Okay, so what I'll do here is I will sacrifice my 1/3 taunt, who provided a ton of value for me, so thank you very much. And then I will Shadow Bolt his taunt. And get him for some damage. And I'd say at this point I can win. Hellfire brings it down to 2, and then Soulfire for the win. So, victory to the Giants. So obviously my opponent here wasn't the strongest of opponents, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get a better game in, but you still kind of get an idea of how the deck itself works and how it's played. Let's just play another one real quick and hope we get a opponent with a more strong meta game deck. I don't know how to put that, but we'll just play one more to get another game in. But like I said, this is a case where you got all the right cards. I got the Giant early on. I got the Voidwalker. So it worked out pretty well for me.
Thrall! For Doomhammer. Your soul shall be mine.
This is a situation where I didn't get the cards I needed. So I'm going to send all these back. They're all strong cards, but apart from the Shadow Bolt, they kind of rely on the fact that you have a Giant on the field. And I'm hoping that I get some good stuff back. And I did not. I pretty much got the same stuff except weaker. And there's a Defender again. Well, I will be passing for a while, it seems. Oh, I hope he uses that for his hero power. Oh my goodness. Alright, well, that is something that you shouldn't do. And it looks like the game is turning around for me. I got the Voidwalker, but I'm going to life tap here. What I'll most likely end up doing next turn is playing the Voidwalker and then life tapping again. I think in this situation getting the extra draw is important just because we don't have the cards that we want, which is either a Molten or Mountain Giant. And with a 1-1, there's no real threat here. Cool. I'm going to draw, see what I get, and in this case I'm going to Mortal Coil, kill that, and get another card for the draw. Like I said, draw is really important, and let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I have 8 cards, okay, so I have some space for a few more. What I'm fishing for right now is either a Giant or a Twilight Drake. Obviously I prefer the 8/8, but the Twilight Drake isn't a bad card either. Looks like I'll Shadow Life Tap once more, and then I have to drop that so I don't start losing cards. That's quite interesting. Okay. I'm not too upset about that. I'm actually thinking about just Hellfire in here. I mean, obviously I can just, you know, Life Drain and get rid of this Flame Tongue. But getting rid of the taunt at the same time I think would be helpful in case I do draw into a big threat later on. So I'm gonna go ahead and Hellfire. I don't know if that was the right decision, but I guess we'll see. My big fear about using the Hellfire right here was if he drops like Feral Spirits or Feral Wolves or whatever they're called.
I hope you like my invention.
You know, it's gonna take me a turn or two to work my way through them. There's another taunt. That's unfortunate. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh man, I'm at 10. I really don't want to use a removal on something silly, so I guess I'll just drop the Sun Fury Protector. And there's my Giant that I can't play yet. Are you serious? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh man, I'm at 10 again. I guess I'll just play the other one. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate. Obviously, I don't want to play that, but I do have the Defender of Argus to give my actual Giant taunt, so. Now, I'm really scared as to what he's holding onto his hand. I mean, I assume that this is just going to get hexed immediately. That's a trade I'm not too sad to make.
The Sunwell.
Now, drawing into another Hellfire here would be pretty nice. Huh. Not bad. Okay, well, now we need to decide what to do. If I play a Giant, let's see, he has 9 damage on the field, and I'm sure he's holding on to like a spell or something. So I don't know if I want to do that. So what I'm actually going to do to bait out, you know, his removal, his Hex or whatever, is play a Twilight Drake, and then followed up with destroying his totem there. Now 410 is, you know, it's pretty threatening, and he doesn't have enough power on the field to kill it. So I'm hoping he does something to this to free up, to allow me to play the Mountain Giant without fear of getting, you know, whatever, getting it hexed, or I don't know what else he would have. Looks like we're going to rush down. Okay. I do need to keep in mind, I'm not sure what deck he's playing. He could very well be playing some sort of Bloodlust Shaman.
We must
And
cleanse
if that's the case, I don't want his field to get too big, because that'll be scary. So I'm hoping to top deck a Hellfire very bad. That is, in fact, not a Hellfire. But it could be worse. So, Mountain Giant, Mr. Defender of Argus. Just taunt because I have to. And I'm going to Soulfire here because I'm not too sad about losing anything here except really the Faceless Manipulator, which will probably get discarded with this because RNG. But the reason why is if he does in fact have a Bloodlust, he could potentially kill me with this many creatures, so I'm going to get rid of his Cleric. It's not too bad. Now there's Hex. Oh well. I do still have the 5/9, which is not bad. And this is where I need to start gaining some health. If I do get a Molten Giant, I believe at this point he'd be free. Yes. Or he'd cost 1. I don't know. Either way, yeah, he'd be free. Lord Jaraxxus. Sweet. Well, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear his field because it looks like he's going to Bloodlust. You know, playing creatures like the Warlock dude, it's kind of a sign that he's going to do something crazy. So let's get him for some damage. And I'm scared to life tap because he might have like 2 lightning bolts or whatever, and that'll mess up my day. So I'm going to copy this guy. Now I could potentially save the Faceless Manipulator for a Giant, but at this point I just kind of want to beat him down before he gets me down too low. Next turn I might Lord Jaraxxus based on what he plays. No, I'm probably just going to Siphon Soul this guy. Oh, Siphon Soul. Goodbye. Getting for some damage. At this point, I'm feeling safe enough to life tap. Oh, there's nothing there. Which costs 0. Yeah, at 10 health, I can't really see him having anything that could kill me, like, directly. I mean, you know, at this point with 2 5/6s on the field and nothing on his board, you know, it'd have to be directed. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this guy. I think this is where he gives up.
Feel the power.
This is where I win.
That was a mistake.
Oh, good game. So yeah, like I said, I didn't think he had anything that could kill me directly. Yay, I'm a Murloc. Alright, well thank you guys for you know, going through this deck presentation. I do have a couple decks lined up that I want to go through, and you know, I hope you guys had fun. Like I said, the Giants deck, pretty fun deck. Unfortunately, the people that we played today weren't the you know, they weren't running the strongest decks, and it seemed like they were newer players, so the victories were a lot easier than they generally would be at a higher level, obviously speaking. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.